We have engineered our domestic spaces to respond to our every preference. With the tap of a screen or the turn of a dial, we can adjust the climate, dim the lighting, and secure the perimeter. To facilitate this, we have placed internet-connected microphones and high-definition cameras into our most private areas, from our living rooms and kitchens to our bedside tables. The hardware purchased to keep the outside world locked out has built a direct line inside. In December 2019, an 8-year-old girl walked into her bedroom and heard the song Tiptoe Through the Tulips, a track featured in the horror film Insidious, playing out of thin air. The room was empty. The music stopped, and a grown man's voice began speaking to her. The audio was broadcasting directly through the two-way talk feature of the family's indoor security camera. That month, a woman was jolted awake by someone shouting, "Wake up," through her bedroom monitor. Another family's camera was hijacked by an intruder shouting racial slurs. A third victim received demands to pay a ransom in Bitcoin directly through a camera lens. No one picked a physical lock. They did not break a window or trip a traditional security alarm. They walked right past the physical perimeter. A heavy wooden door and a reinforced deadbolt offer exactly zero protection when the attacker enters through a Wi-Fi connection. Tracing how these breaches occur reveals that the first point of failure is often the person who unboxed the hardware. This chart highlights a specific vulnerability detailed in a National Science Foundation study. 60% of smart home device owners never modify their default settings or passwords. Leaving factory settings intact exposes local networks to brute force dictionary attacks. Automated software can rapidly cycle through thousands of common generic passwords until it hits a match and gains entry. But the blame extends beyond consumer habits. Major hardware manufacturers regularly ship these devices with critical structural flaws built directly into the ecosystem. For years, companies like Ring failed to implement basic safeguards. They permitted endless login attempts without rate limiting the system, and they treated two-factor authentication as an optional, buried feature rather than a mandatory requirement. When the company's internal databases were breached in 2019, stolen credentials flooded the internet. In the aftermath, attackers used those lists to log directly into thousands of live cameras, gaining immediate visual access to private residences. Handing these powerful surveillance tools to consumers without enforcing baseline security turns private homes into highly accessible targets. The most sophisticated point of entry bypasses passwords entirely. It targets the unencrypted pathways of the smartphone apps controlling our hardware. While physical appliances run on lightweight protocols, phone apps rely on sponsored web traffic to ping servers. A Florida Institute of Technology study found that over 40% of companion apps failed to enforce encryption. This creates a direct opening for a man-in-the-middle attack. An actor can silently insert themselves, siphoning the data flowing between the phone and server. Because these protocols are lightweight and unverified, the intercepted data is completely readable in standard formats like JSON and Base64. The attacker doesn't need to break complex cryptography to understand the commands. Look at this JSON code used by a standard Schlage smart lock. Its physical state is controlled by a single integer. 0 means locked. By intercepting the traffic, the attacker simply flips that 0 to a 1. The deadbolt retracts. The exact architecture that allows you to open your front door from the grocery store creates a permanent, exploitable bridge into your physical reality. We are accelerating into a fully connected landscape. Projections show that there will be over 1 billion IoT devices active globally by 2030. This specific digital vulnerability is multiplying across every neighborhood, building, and living room. Devices marketed and sold as the ultimate tools for peace of mind are routinely weaponized for tech-enabled abuse, stalking, and domestic surveillance. Plugging a camera into the wall and assuming the software will protect you is no longer a viable option for personal safety. Securing a modern residence requires learning how to read the digital footprint of the network it runs on. You have to become a detective in your own home. This is a standard router administration panel. By typing a local IP address, like 192.168.1.1, directly into a web browser, you can log in using your admin credentials to see exactly what is communicating inside your walls. This screen shows the connected devices list. A generic IoT name or a string of unrecognized characters in a MAC address is the modern equivalent of footprints in the garden. Mitigating an intrusion requires immediate steps. changing the core Wi-Fi password, enabling MAC address filtering to explicitly block unknown hardware, and quarantining all smart appliances onto an isolated guest network. The lenses and microphones scattered across our bookshelves and bedside tables are permanent fixtures of modern life. They are constantly listening and always transmitting. Active network auditing is now a mandatory chore for domestic security. It is the only reliable way to verify exactly who is on the other side of the lens.